I like this one.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
So, Endgame is the highest grossest film currently in history, surpassing Avatar. It was released in 2019, directed by the Russo brothers, as we know them. I personally love this film, and the three major things I want to look at during this review is the characters, the plot, and the composition of the movie in itself, the cinematography of it. How aesthetically pleasing is it really? So firstly, looking at the characters, of course, we're starting off with our beloved Tony Stark. Tony, as always, is our resident genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, as we know him. And in this movie, he has actually started a family. He has a child, Morgan, adorable. I love her. She is great. And I just really like this look on him, the look of a dad, and the characteristics he displays as a dad. It's just so Tony, it's so awesome, and it's perfect. And of course, this is all good until he goes on that time travel and basically dies, which is not so good. Side point, this scene is awesome. I love it. Power couple. But, oh, Iron Man. His death was very impactful. It had a great impact, and not great. We hated it, of course, but it's really fitting for him to die as a hero, saving everyone else. I just really liked this ending for him, even though I would have preferred it not to end at all. But it is very fitting. Now, moving on to our resident Asgardian God of Thunder, Thor. Thor has always been one of my favorite characters. He is very funny, and it's awesome to see him and his movies. Ragnarok is a masterpiece.
Hulk, you know my friends.
Facts. Korg is the best. Side note. But Thor, having him look like this physically, it creates a really comedic tone for him, which is, well, kind of ever present with Thor, but it's also a real physical representation of his feelings after failing at killing Thanos and saving the universe. It's just really sad to see, even if it is really funny at times. It's also very sad. But I did hear that Chris Hemsworth had a lot of fun with this representation of Thor, and, well, that's good. But moving back to Thor as the character, I really hope after that ending that we can see him go out in the galaxy and kick some ass with the Guardians of the Galaxy. That will be epic, and I really hope we get to see that in the future. Okay, moving on to Bruce Banner, or the Hulk. I feel like he was very underrepresented in this movie. He was not really that present, and I feel like his character got kind of thrown away. Even if I like the idea of merging the brains and the bronze, I feel like he deserved better.
Did you get that?
He did.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
I just had to put that in. That is one of my absolute favorite scenes in this entire movie. But, as you can probably notice now, we moved on to Steve Rogers, or Captain America. First of all, him being old came out of nowhere. I feel like there was no kind of build up to this. It was just the small glimpses of that picture of Peggy he had, and then the time traveling where he saw her and he felt feelings. I feel like that plot was very underdeveloped and it deserved more attention. And I also feel like the notion of just throwing him back in time to relive his life with Peggy kind of disrupts what Peggy did with her life. I don't know why it bothers me, but it feels like they kind of just unearthed her life for him. Yeah, I don't know. But I can still see why they would do this and why it's a fitting ending for our beloved Captain America. I definitely do. And of course, seeing Sam picking up the shield is just amazing. Sam is a great character, a great person, and we all know that it is not a great soldier that is needed to make Captain America. It is a great man. Moving on to Black Widow and Hawkeye, or Natasha Romanoff and Clint Barton. They were heartbreaking in this movie, not gonna lie. I feel like Natasha's death deserved more recognition, but it was also fitting because she was a super secret spy for most of her life. So it fit that she would go quietly and there wouldn't be a funeral. But I feel like she could have gotten a mention, at least at the end, where maybe Wanda and Clint were talking. I just have to add that this scene was so heartbreaking, one of the most heartbreaking ones, because they were literally fighting over who was going to die for the other. And that just shows how strong their friendship is, and I just really love seeing strong friendships between males and females like that. It's not represented a lot, and I really appreciated it, even though I still hated that she died. Now, moving on to the plot. I liked the plot. I found it interesting that the time traveling didn't affect the future, which is exactly what I liked about it, because the future they were living in would be a product of the past they traveled to. If you get what I mean, I can barely understand myself right now. But I still appreciated it. We know that Marvel movies are blockbuster movies, they are mainstream, so the plot was predictable, but that was to be expected. I still appreciated the movie in itself. Just because there's a predictable plot doesn't mean that it has to be bad, because you can still give it a unique light, and that's what they did.
Avengers!
Assemble.
The cinematography in this movie is very developed and it is very realistic looking, which I enjoy. Cinematography to me is always a big component of how good a movie is. Personally, at least, I enjoy good cinematography. And this movie definitely had it. You just look at this battle scene. It's perfect. I love it. And yes, I am a fan, so I am probably biased, but I am not going to care right now. Still gorgeous cinematography. I do have one issue with the composition. This scene, the so-called feminist scene, I am very much a feminist myself, and honestly, when I first saw this scene, I got chills. It was epic. It felt very epic. But when I thought about it more afterward and watched it again, of course, it felt kind of ridiculous in a way. It just felt like they felt the need to prove something and they had to throw that in to show that they had strong, independent women. But it was very underwhelming afterward. A movie about a female superhero would be much better at showing that they are inclusive and they are trying to appeal in a way to all the women watching the movie, but it felt forced for them to come together like that, only the women. It felt very forced and unnatural, which is very disappointing. Now, I guess, the overall feelings toward this movie are very positive. I enjoyed it, even though the plot was a bit predictable and a bit underdeveloped at times, like Steve's plot, for example, not being developed enough in a way. I understand they had a lot of characters and there were a lot of loose ends to tie up and a lot of things to solve, and the plot definitely suffered from that. But this movie had a lot of positive components, a lot of great characters, a lot of great writing, and I did overall enjoy it. And the points I would give it is a solid 94 out of 100. Looking at characters, plot, cinematography, and the composition of the movie, definitely a solid 94 out of 100. So that was it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment and subscribe, and please tune in for the next one. I apologize if this is very amateur-like, but I am new to this, so I hope you can forgive me, and please don't kill me in the comments. Great. See you next time.